Board of Supervisors meeting for January 13th, 2026. We're going to do something a little different going forward. I've asked Mr. Bill Minsker to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. All rise. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. So I have an announcement to make regarding executive session. The Board of Supervisors convened an executive session on Tuesday, January 6, 2026, to discuss a personnel matter involving an interview of the finance manager candidate, and held another executive session immediately prior to this meeting to discuss legal matters involving code enforcement here in the community and litigation that is going on with regards to the compost facility and DEP and a community resident. We also talked about a code enforcement issue with regards to 3 dilapidated properties here in the township. So that occurred prior to us coming into this meeting tonight. The next item on the agenda is the presentation of the active transportation plan. Yes, sir? Oh, great, thank you.
Okay. Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Brian Funkhauser with Michael Baker International. We're an engineering and planning consulting firm that was contracted by the township roughly around this time last year to provide assistance in updating the township's active transportation plan, and which is basically a plan for improving the accommodation of cyclists and pedestrian activity throughout the municipality. As part of tonight's workshop, we just want to provide an overview of the work that the township has done over the past several months in updating this plan, and provide any opportunity for questions or if you need any clarification on anything that has been done as part of the plan update. Just begin with a quick overview of the project objectives, what the purpose of this project was. And again, it was really aimed at identifying projects, programs, and policies for improving the accommodation of cyclists and pedestrians throughout Lower Paxton Township, as well as looking at access to other modes of transportation, such as public transportation service that's available throughout the township. The hope is that ultimately this plan will be able to be used as a guide for the township for future decision-making as it relates to these modes of transportation. The update began roughly around this time last year. I think February, March timeframe was when the effort got underway. And you can see from the slide here some of the major milestones throughout the past 12 months, beginning with our work with the steering committee. We met with this group several times over the course of the planning process. They provided guidance to the project team. We used them as a sounding board, presented them with draft products and material for them to review and comment on. And they really provided the work of really steering the overall study process. Some of the other major elements of the work I'm going to be discussing in more detail, but we did have public engagement, stakeholder interviews. We had a public meeting that was hosted here by the township last summer. I'll talk more about that. But all of that really culminated in the development of an overall action plan with implementation strategies and initiatives for as part of the final plan. The plan was again guided by a steering committee, which included a diverse group of individuals who provided overall guidance on the project, including township staff, school district officials, We had folks here from PennDOT District 8 as well as the Harrisburg Metropolitan Planning Organization all provided input into the process through the various meetings that we had over the past year. As part of our outreach, we did conduct a round of stakeholder interviews, stakeholder outreach that included the interests that you see here on this particular slide, just talking to advocates for cycling and for pedestrian movement throughout the township, the Area Agency on Aging, economic development interests, the Harrisburg Bicycle Club, just a variety of interests that our team met with to provide input into the plan. In addition to this input, which I would refer to as more of the anecdotal type information that we wanted to get from users of the system, we also had quantitative data analysis, quantitative data that was collected. This slide just shows two examples of GIS data that our team collected to really help inform the update of the plan. The map on the left, for example, shows work that had been done by the township's Greenways Committee. They've done a lot of work over the past several months and years in developing an inventory of the township's sidewalk inventory. That's what you see there in blue. And then we overlaid that with the bus stop locations. So it was interesting to see just the relationship, or in some cases the lack of a relationship, between the availability of sidewalk infrastructure with bus stop locations throughout the township. The map on the right, just as another example, was a data set known as Strava, and we obtained this from the Harrisburg Metropolitan Planning Organization. This provides information on how pedestrians are currently using the township's pedestrian network. It shows where people are walking throughout Lower Paxton. Again, it doesn't show where people want to go, but it just shows how people are using the township's existing sidewalk network. One of the major outcomes of the plan update was the development of a priority bicycle pedestrian network, and we're proposing this as a tool to be used for helping to guide future planning across the township's pedestrian bicycle network. And I'm joined this evening by one of my colleagues who worked with me on the plan update, Ben Warner, and he's going to be giving a very brief overview of what this priority network is, how it was created, and how it should be used.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks, Brian. So yeah, just really quick review on the Priority Bicycle Network. So really beneficial tool for the township to moving forward after adoption into implementation. So using existing data from the township, so points of interest, which really are all of the dots that are shown. I understand it's hard to see on the screen. So that's churches, schools, shopping centers, grocery stores, really where do people want to go in the township. So those were categorized as the points of interest. We also, as Brian mentioned, used the Strava data to show where people are currently going, and that showed kind of our high priority routes that people are currently using. We used the Greenway Committee sidewalk network layer that was developed through GIS to show where all the existing infrastructure currently is in the township. Compiled all this, and then we really got into the analysis, and we termed which are our tier 1 lines, so all the bright red lines on the map. As you can see, those are the primary routes in the township. Lingelstown Road, Colonial Road, Union Deposit, those are really where the prime connectors to the points of interest. Then we have the smaller lines that are kind of connecting into the Tier 1 Priority Bike Ped Network. So like the yellowish, light yellow color, those were listed as our Tier 4. So those are the next highest priority corridors, so really tied to the Tier 1 network, and they also have the biggest density with the blue circles, which were the half-mile buffers built around the points of interest. So the Tier 2 was broken down into 4 levels. As I mentioned, level 4 was our kind of highest priority right after those Tier 1s. Tier 3s were more located near the existing transit routes and bus stops. And those areas were identified as where they currently lack the sidewalk infrastructure. So connecting those residential developments where individuals may not have access to a car, but they need to utilize public transportation. Those level 3s were tied to the public transit bus stops. Level 2 tended to be near the township parks and some additional points of interest. Now, as we move farther away from the higher density of the circles, we kind of go as a lower priority, as from our analysis, there were not as many individuals that were utilizing that infrastructure, or there may be no infrastructure at all. So those tended to be along Mountain Road and some additional areas farther north of Linglestown Road. And then our level 1 areas towards the south and the far north of the township are where there's very few points of interest, but understanding there still may be residential developments there that people might be looking to utilize the infrastructure. So we wanted to include where there were only lower density of the dots. So very quick, high-level overview. There is an interactive web map that's a part of the plan that allows you to really zoom in. And as you zoom in closer to where the higher density dots are, it really shows where all the specific points of interest are located in those areas. And I'll turn it back over to Brian.
Thanks, Ben. There are challenges all across the township, and we really felt like having a priority bicycle pedestrian network would be beneficial to help the township focus on those high priority areas. Just had a couple more slides to wrap up here. Wanted to mention that the plan was developed through a robust public outreach process. We conducted a public survey as well as a public open house, which was hosted here at the Township Building last August. The open house was attended by roughly 20 individuals who highlighted safety concerns and infrastructure gaps throughout the township. And the public survey generated nearly 300 responses from respondents township-wide. One of the interesting responses from the survey, one of the questions we asked was, do you consider your home to be within a safe walking distance from major destinations within the township? Nearly 62% said no. So that really presents not only a challenge, but I think an opportunity for the township, recognizing some of these challenges to help address some of these gaps in bicycle pedestrian infrastructure. And then finally, just a couple words on really the heart of the plan, which are the plan goals and the action strategies and initiatives that flowed out of this process. We organized the action strategies across 5 different goal areas, as you see on the slide here, dealing with various aspects of this, including education, more enforcement. People talked about the need for greater enforcement in school zones, stepping up enforcement of maintenance of sidewalks, sidewalk conditions, and things like that. The network, Ben already talked about the priority bicycle pedestrian network, as well as continuing development of the township's sidewalk inventory. We believe that's something that should be continued, whether it's done by the Greenways Committee or some other entity within the township. That's work that should continue. And then on the policy side, the plan does recommend conducting a review of the sidewalk waiver process. That would require sidewalks to be constructed within the high priority areas that have been identified within the plan, as well as considering the adoption of an official map, which would identify areas that are needed for key pedestrian and bicycle improvements, such as areas that are identified for new development or redevelopment. And then finally, on the under the institutional goal, the plan does recommend that the township form a Township Active Transportation Committee, which would be comprised of key township department leaders to really assist in the work of really moving this effort from planning to implementation. And final slide, one of the things that this group would be charged with would be developing an annual report card of progress, just a way of introducing transparency into the process, where this group would be charged with really identifying progress that the township has made with regard to addressing some of the challenges related to bicycle pedestrian transportation over time. So some of the performance measures are as you see here, and this would be a way for the township to document to the public progress that it is making in addressing these challenges. And it can include things like number of grant applications that have been submitted, total funding that has come into the township for these kinds of improvements, linear feet of new sidewalk that's been installed, et cetera, et cetera. So it's just a way of trying to quantify some aspects as well as looking at progress indicators. You know, how has the township been doing with regard to making progress, you know, using these performance measures. So again, our hope is that this will be a plan and a document that can be used by township leadership for addressing all of the challenges that exist throughout the municipality with regard to accommodation of cycling and pedestrian activity. And I will leave it there if anyone has any questions or has any comments.
I'll start the questions off. So, for instance, we have a new development going up on Colonial Road called Elizabeth Village. How would the new development fit into your active transportation plan?
Well, one of the tools that we're looking at through the identification or the development of this priority bicycle pedestrian network would be that if there are developments in the future that are being considered by the township, as these land developments are being reviewed, that they would be done so through the lens of where does that development sit within, you know, this priority bike ped network. Many times, as you know, developers will request waivers for constructing sidewalks. And the hope would be that this plan would be used as a tool to really enforce the township's position to ensure that sidewalks are constructed, especially in these high priority areas where there are numerous, you know, points of interest, as Ben mentioned, you know, new developments coming in, linkages need to be provided to community facilities, shopping areas, parks, things like that. So that's how we would see this priority network being used as a decision-making tool in the future.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Madam Chair, I have a few questions for the gentleman. Thank you for your presentation. I don't know if you know or don't know, before we sat on this board, that was a negative to me. I'm just transparent that way. It's a no ideal to me as far as bicycling. When you talk about the safety, I mean, you'd mentioned something about a survey where residents were saying it wasn't safe to walk. Okay, if we put sidewalks in there, how safe is that going to be to ride a bicycle? They're not going to ride a bicycle on the sidewalk.
Right.
So tell me your opinion on how safety fits into this for a bicyclist. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, safety should be the township's number one priority.
Right.
Should be. I know it's PennDOT's top priority. It should be the township's top priority. And I think plans like this, active transportation plans, can help improve not only connectivity, but also the safety aspects of, I mean, we've all seen it where pedestrians are walking out in the middle of Colonial Road or crossing 22. And I mean, I've had situations where when Sears was still there, I'd bring my car to Sears for a tire rotation or something, and I try to walk across the street to get to McDonald's, eat a sandwich while I'm waiting for my car to get worked on, and it's taking your life in your hands. Just crossing the street, and I'm an able-bodied person. There's many who are not. And so we just see this as an opportunity to address, you know, there's challenges all across the township, and can't do everything, which is why you need a plan to identify priorities, identify policies that leadership can be working on to try to address these gaps in the bike ped network.
Okay, but would you agree that cycling in our community, that's my last question, would you believe that cycling in our community is a challenge or will be a challenge when it comes to safety? Safety is my number one priority. I enjoy bicycling. I think it's great, but it has to be safe. And our streets are very congested. Temperamental drivers, as you may think. So that's where I'm getting in, trying to understand that or to grasp that before I can get on board with something like that,
Yeah,
personally.
I mean, I think the town, not to speak for the township staff, but I think they would agree. I know our committee would agree that many areas throughout the township, you don't feel safe unless you're like a type A type cyclist, to be out there riding around on 22 or 39. I mean, it's only the most experienced cyclists are going to be willing to do that. But it's, many people who were at the public open house here last summer is when you look at a map of the township from the standpoint of a cyclist or a pedestrian, it's very challenging, and it's sad really that you have to get in your car to go somewhere to ride a bike. And when you look throughout the township and see the no pedestrian signs, that's a symptom of a problem that needs to be corrected. So that's really how our steering committee and township staff have been viewing this as we have built over the past several decades in a very auto-oriented way. And I think others are kind of taking a step back and looking at this and asking, how can we correct this situation and be more accommodating of cyclists and pedestrians? I've certainly seen sea changes within PennDOT over the past 30, 35 years when it comes to this, in terms of the initiatives, laws that have been passed to really help improve, the 4-foot law, for example, to improve safety for cyclists. And it's just one of many things that I think that we as planners need to be looking at, and elected officials, need to be looking at to provide a greater measure of safety for these vulnerable road users.
Thank you. Thank you.
Could you please tell me, are the other townships that abut us, are they also looking at an active transportation plan? Because if you're talking bicycling, they'll probably be leaving Lower Paxton Township too to go into West Hanover, Susquehanna, Sweater, and up the mountain at Middle Paxton. Are they also looking at an active transportation plan?
That is an excellent question, and it's actually one of our recommendations that Lower Paxton continue to collaborate and coordinate with, your neighbors as they develop their own priority networks. And Ben, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe both Susquehanna and West Hanover have.
Yeah, so Susquehanna just completed their plan back at the end of 2024, which as a part of in the plan, we did a literature review, and we did look at where connections were at Susquehanna. And then West Hanover just completed theirs back in 2025, and similar to that, we looked at the connections as well in that plan.
Okay, and so we're here at this step. What is the next step after you presenting this to us?
My understanding is that as a board, you're going to be taking action on this at your week. So I believe if you have any questions from here, maybe to reread the plan, come to the meeting next week with maybe any additional questions, or if you need clarification on something, or any changes that you would like to see made to the draft, that you'd bring those to the meeting next week.
Okay, thank you.
So your
Go ahead.
So your priorities based upon the current state of Lower Paxton Township, right? Where you say that where we need to have these priority bike paths, is that correct? It's not anticipating where you think they should be.
Well, again, I mean, from the data that was collected through GIS and through interviews that we had and input through the public open house, we listened to our steering committee, through the public, in terms of what are the public's preferences for the future of bicycle pedestrian accommodation. That really was a big driver in helping us develop this plan.
So what does success look like to you, right? So in your view, for implementing a plan like this, What would make it successful in your view? And how long do you think it'll take to put in place?
Good question, and that's another reason why we developed this annual report card of progress, because I think, in addition to elected officials, the public is going to be asking the same question. What does success look like? And I think for the plan to be able to demonstrate success, you're going to have to be able to measure that both quantitatively as well as qualitatively. So there are certain things that you can quantify in terms of total dollars, maybe grant dollars that are coming into the township for improvements. Other things are going to be more qualitative. Did we make progress on this? Yes or no? More of a binary type thing. But that's why the plan includes not only these performance measures, but it also includes a number of progress indicators as well. So as the township staff is administering this, as they are implementing the recommendations of this plan, they can fill out this report card and provide updates to you as a board, as well as the general public as to, again, how well are we doing with regard to plan implementation. That's a very important, maybe the most important part. That's really where the work begins. Planning is just one side of the coin, but as we move from planning to implementation, that's really where the real work begins. And it's very important for a report card like this to really serve as a feedback loop, because eventually it's going to come time for the plan to be updated. And so it's going to be important to have a tool like this in place that you're maintaining and updating over time that will serve not only to inform you as a board, but also for the township planning staff.
All right. Thank you, sir. Do we have any questions or comments from the public? Okay, sorry.
I didn't just jump in, may I?
Yes.
I too will thank you for the presentation. I'm going to speak just for myself, but pretend I just came in at the end of the movie. And there's 90% of us sitting at this dais that just came in at the end of the movie. So I'm not sure. Could you tell me the plot? Could you give me a cliff notes of how did we get to where we are? Because what I'm hearing is a report card, and it'll be on our agenda for next week for possible adoption. How did we get here? And I don't know if you're familiar, but 86% of us sitting here weren't here in May. So how did we get here?
When you say how did we get here, do you mean as the township in general, or?
General, what triggered the transportation plan? I'm not saying we don't need it. As a resident, I understand it. What triggered the transportation plan? What has the township committed to? What funds do you understand we have available? Pretend I don't know very much about this and let me know just how we got here.
Okay.
Quickly, just briefly.
I mean, Lower Paxton is a suburban municipality on the outskirts of Harrisburg. Is post-war development, very low-density, auto-oriented development, and that has created the built environment that our generation has inherited. And it has been a built environment that has favored the automobile, but it's only been in recent decades that we are seeing more of a shift, more of an emphasis on what PennDOT refers to as vulnerable road users. The most vulnerable among us, students, the elderly, persons with disabilities, people who are choice riders who want to walk to their destination or ride a bicycle. But in today's built environment, it's just not very safe for people to do that. So there are municipalities like Lower Paxton that are taking a look at this with its partners at PennDOT and the MPO to try to address the challenges that they have inherited over the years. And I really see, again, I've just seen a sea change within PennDOT in recent decades to really acknowledge this need, because just putting up no pedestrian signs, don't cross here, this is dangerous, don't ride here, don't walk here. That's, again, to me, that is a symptom of a problem that needs to be addressed. So looking at this annual report card, all of the problems and issues aren't going to be addressed in a year's time. It's going to take an ongoing, sustained effort over years of planning and engineering to correct these wrongs that have been made over time. and for all of us as planners and engineers to do a better job at providing for all modes of transportation, not just the automobile.
And if I may, one more question. You kind of answered, but I want to make sure. We do have a lot of state roads here in the township, so what I'm hearing is that PennDOT is willing to work with us on this active transportation plan because of the state roads that we do have here in the township.
Absolutely, and that's another excellent point. You do have a lot of state roads, a really large state-owned network within Lower Paxton. PennDOT was on board with this initiative all along the way. They participated in our steering committee meetings. The chairman of the Harrisburg MPO attended our meetings. I mean, you've got people within these major transportation agencies who were involved. They're interested in what is happening here, and they want to see something good come out of this planning effort.
Okay, great. Thank you.
I don't mean to be really annoying, and then again, maybe I do. One of your performance measures and progress indicators, reduction in bicycle pedestrian fatal crashes. That's to say that they do happen, correct?
They do.
And if the environment is not dedicated to a bicyclist, then that percentage of that possibility of being a fatality is high, right? So we as a township would have to really look at this, evaluate it, make some major changes to our road construction and roadways here in order to comply with this. Something that you stated may be years away.
Well, in the case of fatalities, I mean, that is a very small number. I mean, you could develop your own performance measures. Maybe you're just looking at pedestrian crashes. Fatalities aside, maybe you're just looking at pedestrian crashes and look at that on a rolling 5-year basis. You're going to have highs and lows over the years. Maybe just do a 5-year roll-up of that kind of crash activity. But again, even some of these performance measures, admittedly, are somewhat coarse. So you could see your fatalities or crashes go up and down, and maybe the township constructs a shared use pathway or a bicycle lane somewhere, and can you really tie that to crash activity? I mean, again, some of these measures are fairly coarse, and maybe some of these, like fatal crashes, would work better for a statewide unit of geography. But bottom line, I think there are performance measures here that can help serve as an indicator of how things are trending within Lower Paxton. Are we trending in a positive direction or a negative direction? And I think that's what these performance measures are intended to do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to hop in and make you go in a different direction, and I appreciate the history lesson, but actually I was just asking logistically, are you at the conclusion of our contract? Is this your final presentation that we have to then adopt? And how did this start with you and this discussion? Was it the state made grants available? Was it that Lower Paxton was involved in a regional discussion? Was it just citizens came and said 22 is a mess? Mm-hmm. How did this get to us?
From our vantage point, Lower Paxton Township had received grant funding to do this. They released an RFP, I think it was around this time last year, to planning and engineering firms to submit a bid to support Lower Paxton on this plan update. Michael Baker won that bid and was hired by the township. Again, it was around this time last year, and we are approaching the end of the planning process. Yes. And I'm sorry if I misunderstood your original question.
It's hard to be clear when you're not sure what you need to ask.
Yeah,
No problem.
sorry.
Thank you.
All right. Once again, I'd like to ask if the audience members have any questions. Come to the podium. Thank you, Mr. Kessler.
Eric Kessler, running Pump Lane, Harrisburg. Ms. Schaub, to answer your question, how did we get here? I've lived in this township since early 70s. We've gotten here because I've paid for traffic studies. All have the same answers today. and we've done not a damn thing about it. We haven't figured out how to pay for it. We haven't figured out who's going to pay for it. PennDOT controls the major north-south, east-west corridors throughout this township. Mr. Chairman, you mentioned Elizabeth Village. Obviously, I know that well. And there was also a study done, now it's been 7 or 8 years ago, Linglestown Road corridor, from the river to the county line. Part of my traffic survey work was inserted into that study. Not a damn thing has been done yet. Not even to figure out what we're going to do, how we're going to do it. The problem you have in this township is you have not enough cooperation from PennDOT, not enough money from PennDOT. They have you plowing snow below your cost. Idiotic, if you ask me. Route 22 is now falls below township standards for safety. But you can't do anything because they're the state. They hold your purse strings. I suggest you get a hold of the governor's office, your senator, your representatives. You have a very quick traffic meeting. You have to excuse me. You know I have Parkinson's, so I'm working on it. But I've been developing in this township about 45 years. I've seen these studies come and go. I chaired the Linglestown Committee for 12 or so years. Bill was on the committee. When we did charrettes, we had hundreds of people attend, every one we did. And one of our goals in our big, thick report was walkability, non-vehicle accessibility bicycles. And we did it. We did it on both sides of the street, sidewalks. The feds, the state paid for 90%, township paid for 10%. But here's the difference. We took the report, we quickly took our goals, we identified what we had to do, and we did it. I used to say I'll be an old man on Social Security. Well, I'm an old man now on Social Security and still not done. So I'm looking for action as a township resident. Thank you. Any questions I can answer?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Question? Come to the podium, please. Thank you. Name and address.
I'm Elisa Hoyer, and I'm on Spring Knoll Drive, Harrisburg.
Thank you.
My husband's one of those statistics up there for riding a bike and getting hit by a vehicle. Sorry if you can't see me. I'm trying to get where you can hear me at least. He had a very bad problem with his back, and it wasn't working well for him. The doctor told him to go ride a bike. So he said, okay, I have an exercise bike. He says, no, I want you to get out in the street and ride a bike. The first day he went out to better himself with his back being stiff, he got hit by a car by someone, which is a different story. The person that hit him didn't have a license. They were going for their learner's permit, but the person they were with in the car had a learner's permit. Okay, I've worked at PennDOT. I know that doesn't fly. You don't go out with someone that you don't have, a permit or anything, and then the other person only has a permit. So he got through it. It took a couple years, but I'd love to see the numbers come down. I mean, one's too many, and if anyone gets killed, that's another thing. And it's not just people wanting to get to work. It's bicycle enthusiasts that maybe just want to ride to a friend's house. So I always wondered why nothing was done about this, why they don't have lanes, because we are in a very, very busy area. And I was just curious to ask, who is it in PennDOT that you've worked with? What area? very familiar with PennDOT. All right, thanks. So anyway, I'm glad to hear that this is something being brought up and considered. You never know when it's going to be someone in your family that it happens. Thanks.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Miller?
William Miller, 4311. The gentleman made some very excellent points. I'd also like to thank Director Scott. She has done a phenomenal amount on those sidewalks and curbs you heard about. There are people on your committees in this township who are excellent bike riders. They work with the Greenbelt for trails, and you have a vast amount of resources here if you know who all these people are, and you have some key people who are willing to work harder for you, I believe, if asked, to help tie some of this together in the future. This isn't like a one, we'll do this next year or this year. It's going to be a long-term plan. It was mentioned on these sidewalks, and I always mention the old ones. If you go to Devon Manor Pool, that sidewalk was there since the early 60s. You had to put in your sidewalks. It was mandatory. There were no waivers. You had to do, you want to do business, there's a cost to pay. The same thing is out off of Wenrick Street, where all that construction may occur. And there are insets, if you look, is it Elmer? But the curbings are back about 10 feet off the road. They had the foresight, and they were compelled to install those items. On back to Colonial Road, if you're going to develop the Colonial Park Mall, and we also have Elizabeth Village, those people are going to want to go to church. They're going to want to go to the Devon Manor Pool. They're going to walk down to the mall, which is to me, is a key piece of real estate for the township to develop and get it moving. Whatever they need to do, it's your income, jobs, whatever it's going to be. But how do they get there? And again, that's all along Colonial Road. It's a state road. If it wouldn't be for Mr. Kessler spending his own money, there's a beautiful sidewalk, even landscape through Elizabeth Village. I spoke in a meeting, he spoke, he stepped up to the plate. He's a developer who develops, and he knew that point, and from my opinion, and I thank him for that. I tried to get the gentleman, somebody that owns that other property where the pizza is, well, if you want to put it in, you can put it in. Well, I thought if we're going to put in like a couple hundred yards worth of walkway with plantings, they could go for the last 10 feet. So this is where the township has to get involved. Perhaps we may have to be at a point where we have to go back and start to compel people. You need to make a connection here. So how do you pay for it? Well, hopefully they step up to the plate. The pizza places and everything they're going to get all the business from all those people walking down on that walkway that was already put in. The walkways have to be a certain width. But again, you go back up to the corner there at Devonshire and Colonial and Crumbs Mill, the church has a sidewalk to where? There's your area. There's an area in there. Will some properties have to be taken? I don't know. But that would be a PennDOT thing. There were studies done that you were aware of where Devonshire and Colonial were supposed to be revamped and widened and some of that land taken. The doctor's office, Dr. Williams, and the guy with all the tchotchkes in front of his house, their properties, they took their land. Their land is the road, is Devonshire Road. When I look on the state maps, that's what I perceive. So do we have to take a house? Sure. That's a terrible intersection. And there's other ways to increase the transportation. All those roads were addressed. Earl Drive, supposed to have a traffic light. 2005 PennDOT study, I have it. It's available. So that's just one road. If you're going to make these connections, we don't have any connections for business. Then you have to fight with PennDOT. When you go out through Linglestown, we get to Wenry Street. The bike lanes for me, we're talking maybe 5 feet wide, and sidewalks. We're in the preliminary planning stages of that huge project. No one's talking about those lanes, and I keep saying, they tell me, well, Bill, we're only in the first phase of this project. Well, you're gonna lose some, they're gonna lose some of those townhouses. I know both developers, that's what they do. They develop, they're good at what they do. People have a lot of housing due to these gentlemen. But what about the width of that road? Will the township be on the hook for that road? Probably, absolutely. But where are these lanes going to be? We have to put those in. That has to be a priority, I feel, in the future of planning all these projects in this township. Then it's safe from the get-go. You don't come back and, well, we got to move a house back. This is an NDD, a neighborhood design development, community-based. It doesn't connect with the Linglestown community. It ends at Wenrick. It doesn't go to Balthaser. All those people could be walking down there to the businesses in Linglestown. It would be a productive item financially for everyone that lives there. The people can walk, the students can walk, but none of these walkways are in, and it should be part of the planning process. Prior to approving, let's start construction, then we're going to work on Wenrick. We're putting the cart before the horse here on this one. So that's I have some comments about other things later, but this planning, it used to happen. I don't like waivers. A waiver, the last one, a waiver had been negotiated there at the Harley-Davidson sheets on Route 22. If you look at the button to cross that walk, we're so dangerous. If you put your rear end out, you're going to get hit. To press that button, you have to see it to believe it. You have to take notice of it. That intersection is one that needs revamped. The turn signals are off there. You have to fight each other to try to get across the road. That should be one of our planning projects. It's not safe. All of 22 isn't safe. Even the no walking signs when you go down to Sears, you're leaving the old Sears, and I wait there, I get the few hairs I have cut there, and I'm waiting to make a left or go right. There's no walking signs over there. I've taken pictures of it. It's hard to imagine. No walking. So this is a big thing for the township to handle, a big thing for the township to try to figure out. Safety is critical, but when you're planning these projects like Wenrick, safety can be now. It should be now. And PennDOT had plans for Colonial Road years ago, and nothing ever happened. So who follows up on that? Do you have a committee? Again, I think at this juncture, a committee of people who are bike riders. There's an excellent bike rider. There are people who we do work on sidewalks. You have a great committee. You have a lot of experience here that can help guide this into the future to make sure these happen. We're not wanting people to spend $18 jillion. It's simple construction on projects in the township for people, for businesses to develop, but to also include all the constituents to me would be of paramount importance. There have been fatalities on 22, a lot of injuries on 22, Union Deposit. They even want to build a tunnel under Union Deposit as a connector. And to me, all that's going to be is more crime. I mean, I don't know if that's the best idea, because I think they all end up with crime. But that's enough. I mean, I follow this closely. I try to watch it hard, and I just see a lot of things not being connected. There's a piece here, there's a piece here, there's a piece here, and you need a committee to report back to you to pull these pieces together. People who are going to be dedicated for safety and walking. And I've also said this township truly has become an ambulatory township, and we're not making those connections for safe ambulation nor bike riding. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Is there anyone else? All right. We're at the point now where, do we have any more chair? Well, I'll save my chair comments towards the end, for the end. Do we have any more board member comments?
Again, I want to say thank you for your report. Safety is a paramount to me, especially to our youth and younger people, which will be using these bike trails and things of that nature, and it should be safe. So thank you.
I'm sorry, there is one chairman comment that I would like to thank. to the Greenway Committee. I appreciate the research and contribution that you made to the active transportation plan. Rachel, if you could pass that on to the members of the Greenway Committee, let them know how much we appreciate their participation in the creation of this plan. Thank you. All right, we're moving on to the manager's report.
Just real quick, just follow up on a lot of things that we were talking about with the active transportation plan. There is a proposal that we are going, an addendum to the contract that Michael Baker International provided us that I'll hopefully have on the board agenda next week. But it's to take this active transportation plan and take its components and put it into the official map which will, and develop an official map for the township, which will actually memorialize and hold the developers accountable to making those connections that we deem necessary. So that will be, you see the proposal in your packet this evening, but that will be on the agenda next week for approval after we approve this. And I think people were saying that the active transportation plan is on the agenda for next week. It's actually on the agenda for this week, so.
Thank you. The next item that we have on the agenda is item 8, action to approve an appointment to the Planning Commission. On Monday, January 5th, when we were working through the various ABCs, I overlooked the reappointment of Lori Staub to the Planning Commission. So I would like to make a motion. May I have a motion to reappoint Lori Staub to the Planning Commission?
Mr. Chairman, I would like to make a motion to appoint Laurie Staub to the Planning Commission for a reappointment.
Thank you.
I second that motion.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing no opposition, the motion passes. Lori Staub will be reappointed to the Planning Commission. Also, action to rectify a prior appointment and authorize reappointment to the Parks and Recreation Board. So I inadvertently reappointed Kirby Lentz to the Parks and Rec Board because I had information that his term was up. Mr. Lentz's term is not actually up until 12/31/2026. So he did not need to be reappointed, so I would like to correct that. May I have a motion to make the correction?
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Yeah, is there supposed to be another reappointment, or there was no reappointments at all to the Parks and Recreation Board?
There were reappointments to the Parks and Rec Board, and
Because he was
but
the only
Mr.
one last week.
Yes.
Okay.
So we didn't need to reappoint Mr. Lentz because his term is not up until 12/31/2026.
Okay. But and then in that motion, it says here, you're authorizing reappointment to the park. So is there somebody that's getting
Yes,
reappointed? Okay.
it's a two-part motion.
Okay.
So may I have a motion to rectify the prior appointment of Kirby Lentz?
I'll make a motion to rectify the prior appointment of Kirby Lentz.
Is there any discussion?
I do have a question.
Yes.
Madam Chair, are you requesting that we rescind the motion, or what are we allowing you to? I understand that Mr. Lentz already serves on the Recreation Committee, so are you, I think we're just rescinding the motion.
Exactly.
Okay, it has rectify here, so I will amend my motion to rescind. And if I want to ask a question then too. On our papers, for further information, I would really like to have the names of the people, because, there's no names here, so we have no clue who who the prior appointment was. We have no clue who the reappointments are. So for further information, if we could please have the names on, who's going to be appointed to different things, so, on the
right.
agenda.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay.
I will second Supervisor Lindsay's motion to rescind the appointment of Kirby Lentz.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing no opposition, the motion on Kirby Lentz passes. Now, we have Sandra Mort Bakaukas needed to be reappointed to the Parks and Rec Board, and I left her name off last week. May I have a motion to reappoint Ms. Bakaukas?
Can I ask the term, please?
The term for the Parks and Rec Board, Rachel, could you weigh in on that, please? A 5-year term. Thank you. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing none, the motion passes. We are on item number 10.
Madam Chair,
Yes, sir.
public comment
Yes.
on the agenda for public comment.
Okay. Public comment on the appointment.
Public comment under the active transportation plan, so public comment would be number 5.
Okay. We had public comment on the active transportation plan, Mr. Minsker. I'm sorry, what?
General public comment.
That's public comment. yeah.
Okay, I don't see that on the,
Right here on it? Yeah, see it? Is it on your, right here?
okay,
Yeah.
okay. All right, do we have any public comment?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
My name is Bill Minsker, 5956 Linglestown Road in Linglestown. I stand before you this evening in regard to 10 projects, which I introduced to you beginning at a township meeting on June the 17th, going through township meetings on the agendas through October 21st. The final of the 10 projects was the creation of a recreation of a committee, a commission that had existed here in the township for almost 20 years called the Public Improvement Commission. I would like to reintroduce that idea. The purpose being of this commission, that this is a group of citizens that would be of assistance to you in dealing with issues such as have just been presented to you on public safety. I have a packet that has been laid on your agenda place. If you would look at that, these 10 projects, of which would fall under the authority of the Community Improvement Commission, would all be worked on to come back to you with recommendations, also to obtain from you and from the staff and from the public recommendations of issues to be worked on which you don't have time to deal with. So what I would like to do, if you would look at your packet, just to reintroduce this to you quickly, because hopefully under your agenda number 15, either tonight or next week, you will study and give some action toward either approving or not approving the recreation of this commission. On the first page of that packet which you have, you'll see there at the top a little bit of background as to the time period and the purposes for what this commission was all about. If you turn to page number 2, you'll see the organizational structure that has been set up for this.
Mr. Minsker, I had the privilege of hearing you explain the projects before, and you are getting ready to get outside of your 5 minutes. of public comment. So if you don't mind, what I would like to suggest to you, and I didn't know that we were going to have this tonight because this presentation is definitely taking longer than 5 minutes. This discussion will take longer than 5 minutes. What I would like you to do, I'm sorry, Rachel. What I would like you to do is make an appointment with Rachel Scott to go over the various ideas, because one of the points that had previously been discussed with the prior board is that some of these ideas had been were being done or could be done with committees that were already in existence. So could I ask you to do that, make an appointment with Ms. Scott, and then if you want to bring this back, let us know ahead of time so that we can set the time ahead for you to make your presentation, because it's definitely going to take more than 5 minutes, sir.
I can do that, but this was just a summary requesting that you create or act upon the creation of the commission, none of the projects that it would deal with. So what you have in front of you is already the material that has been presented, the applications that have been submitted for 7 persons who would be on this commission. You have the copy of the Constitution, all of the materials dealing with the necessary organization of this commission, not to deal with any of the projects, just the creation of the commission. And my purpose tonight is to request either that you would study that under agenda number 15 tonight, or look at it next week so that we could begin, if we're approved, to meet at the end of this month. And then every other month that follows. So your packet is there, you can look through it. I'm just requesting that some action be taken.
All right, well, the action that I would like you to take from here is to meet with Ms. Scott, go over the committee in a little more detail with her so we can get some guidance as a newly constituted board as to what's already in the works in terms of what committees, which one of the ABCs is already potentially formed to take on these projects, sir. All right?
And if I may, Ms. Chairman, the commission members, I see there's names here, and nothing against them, okay? But this commission hasn't even been accepted yet, and we have to give all the residents a chance to apply to be on this commission. We are not picking and choosing who can be on a commission like this, because I'm here for everybody, and I want everybody to have the chance if they want to participate if this commission does go through. And like I said, nothing against the people that are, that you have picked to be on the commission, but I think we have to give everybody a chance to apply to be on the commission, like we do when we have opens on our applications for the like the Greenway Committee, the Shade Committee, the Parks and Rec. So everybody needs to have a chance, because there might be some other people out there, and then we could review, who wants to be on the commission. So.
Exactly, and that's why it says proposed. And originally there were 9 proposals. Mm-hmm. Supervisors Campbell and Stewart were 2 more people that had expressed interest in being on this commission until they became candidates for the board. So originally I had proposed 9 people for consideration. We're down to 7. But I understand totally that it has to be open. Yeah. I'm just giving you the basic material from which to start.
Mr. Minsky.
Any other questions?
Yeah, so then you envision that, let's say the commission is established and formulated, you'd be working closer with the Parks and Rec folks, right?
You're working with everybody.
Everybody to execute these items then.
If you look at the page that gives the projects from the past, that's on page number 3. The page is divided into 2 parts. The first part at the top is all the projects, major projects we worked on in almost 20 years we were together. You'll see major activities there, many of which were completed by this commission. And then there are projects we've proposed at the bottom. But this is a commission that deals with everything, everyone. It's an open catch-all type of activity, which certainly you can suggest things too, and that's part of my proposal, that there are things that come before you, and what do you do with them? You give them to the public, this committee, this commission to deal with and come back to you with recommendations. So this is not a commission just designed to work with one aspect of what we're doing here in the township. It's wide open.
Like I see on there, the cable TV contracts, the trash recycling contracts, our staff handles that, and I don't want those contracts going to the public first before I even get to see it.
That's okay.
You know?
It would be if you give it to us to work on. Those are just proposals. So that you have public comment,
I'd like to
public input.
let me make a brief comment. I see the concept, I understand it. I have a concern, just as well as Supervisor Lindsay does, on the individuals on the commission. I don't know them. I know me. I know John. I would definitely like to look at more information on them, plus the fact that what Supervisor Lindsay stated, that other people should be open to other people to be available to be on that commission, a selection of that type.
Exactly, and all those applications are on file.
Okay, thank
Yeah, but
you.
we have to give the
They've
other
been submitted.
members of the community a chance. I mean, they've
course.
already submitted applications, and we don't even have the commission.
Of course.
So the other people don't even know in the township that, you know, that this is, other people applied, because the commission has not been formed yet.
That's why it says proposed. These are just proposed. Okay, any other questions? I don't want to take more time. My idea was just to bring this to your attention again, because 4 of the 5 of you were not at all of the activities that I introduced over that period of time.
Thanks, Mr. Mesgers. We
Okay,
appreciate you.
sure.
Thanks.
Thank you so much. Is there any other? Yes, Mr. Miller?
Brief.
All right, thank you.
William Miller, 4311. Credit where credit is due. I'd like the township to be aware, Matt Jaroslawski has again, I think, gone above and beyond the normal deal. They're still out there doing leaves with all the damaged equipment, the wrecked truck, the broken hydraulics, the crap that people put in their leaf piles to damage everything. They're still out there taking advantage of this weather. And, you know, I've been here my whole life, and I've never seen anybody do that. So I think he should be, the whole team there should be acknowledged. The other item was, I was going down Colonial Road, and the trees that I keep talking about that were spring-loaded on the lines we all see every day, unbelievably yesterday they were cut. I don't know where the people came from. I don't know who sent them. I don't know if Matt did it, if supervisors did it. I called Justin Fleming's office and thanked him, even though I told his aide that I didn't know if he did it. But nonetheless, someone did it, and we should be happy to have that done. It's the first time that, you know, the squeaky wheel can get the oil, and I beat it like a dead horse, but it is done. So, and then lastly, I don't know, the yard waste facility is a big concern for me. Again, I spoke with the gentleman. I don't know are we allowed to know the details of what happened in your session prior to this as to what's happening? I mean, you know, it's a need to know. I might not need to know. I don't know.
You're talking about what happened in the executive session?
Yes, ma'am.
We're not permitted to get into the
Okay.
details.
Well, I know I've offered to help with that. I mean, there are solutions. We absolutely need that facility. We have nothing else. We can't afford to haul it up to Halifax. They don't want it at Zager Brothers. So what do we do with it? But I feel for the people that live there. I've talked to them. I'm on their side, and I'm on the township side. There has to be some kind of amicable, reasonable, workable solution for it. I just don't know if you have any township residents on any kind of committee or who are involved in any discussions, because there have been some good ideas given. Another gentleman here in the room has given good ideas, and we have some free resources we could use. It's not free to put them in place, to stack them and tamp them and mound them, and we have to have a study. But I just think that the money we spend in litigation could possibly be spent towards making those improvements if we can get everybody on the same page and, sit down at the table and come up with a plan. So, and we're getting near spring, we're going to have yard waste here in 10 weeks. It'll be Easter, 10 and a half weeks. And everybody will be out scurrying around with voluminous piles of detritus that they want hauled away. And the facility might not be able to handle it, might be in litigation, or the trucks keep breaking down. And then we have to worry about them going out before 7 o'clock in the morning when they're allowed to do, I think, business. Is that not correct? And then some kind of controls like electronic. I think there's a lot of stuff to discuss on this, and I think that if it was, people were more aware of all the ideas that are out there and they were listed, it might take some of the pressure, from the legal arena perhaps more into the resolution arena. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Miller.
Mr. Miller, I just have to tell you, the other night while I was reading the second-class township code again, I won't say chuckle, but I'll say I had to chuckle when I came about the part that talked about the township's capabilities of clearing the side of the road, because thank you very much for bringing that to the attention of the supervisors on more than one occasion.
Yeah, I just don't know who did it, though. I think everybody had a hand in it, really. Everyone's chatting.
But I do appreciate your tenacity.
Thank you.
Any more public comment? Seeing none, I will move on to item number 10, action to hire Melissa Wyrock, MBA, as finance manager, contingent upon the completion of the successful background check. May I have a motion to approve the hiring of Ms. Wyrock, contingent upon the successful background check?
So moved on that. I'm sorry, I turned it off. So moved, Ms. Chairman.
I second that motion.
Is there any discussion?
I would like to ask a question, since I wasn't present during the interview, for either of the two supervisors that made the motion to hire this potential new employee. Could you just give me a heads up on what was it about her that encouraged you that she should receive this motion this evening?
She has the background through a couple of jobs that she has had. She walked into the room with a huge smile on her face, along with Misty Long, the finance director, which I felt the two of them had already come together, through talking. And then at the end of the interview, I asked her 3 adjectives to describe herself. And she missed the 4th one, even though I asked her 3. The 4th one was her energy. Her energy, I feel, is going to bring to that department. The smile on her face is what we're looking for here at the township. But very capable.
Yeah, and I'll add that, yes, very knowledgeable. She's forward-thinking. She thinks about the employees and how to make the department better. So very impressed with her. And again, I liked her energy as well. And she is very engaged in the process of not only the numbers, but also, thinking strategically about the direction of the finance area.
Yeah, I'd like to say I was impressed by her. I was impressed by her personality, her smile, her dedication to what she does. I gave her a question about mentorism, and she knocked that out of the park as far as dealing with other people and any subordinates. So I give her high ratings.
One of the things that helped me feel comfortable with her, given my past experiences, is that when I asked her the question, and I believe I threw the rest of the members, when I asked her the question, what happens if you find yourself in a situation where you do not agree with your direct supervisor, how are you going to approach that? And she worked she was a little surprised about the question, but she worked her way through that in terms of how she would have to address the issue. everything can't just be co-signed because you were told to do something. You have to be able to question whether or not it's your whether or not it's your direct supervisor. So I felt very at ease with her ability to fit into the department and make a positive contribution based on the answer to that question and her municipal government experience.
And one of the questions too, Ms. Scheib, is she has no connection to Lower Paxton Township.
All right. So we're okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing no opposition, the action to hire Melissa Wyrock has passed. Now we're at action to authorize for the authorization to issue a request for proposals for the Coons Park basketball court.
Good evening, Supervisors. The Parks and Rec Department is preparing to move forward with the Coons Park Basketball Improvement Project. The project upgrade will consist of 3 basketball courts, making them ADA accessible, improving the safety clearances, resurfacing the courts, and replacing the equipment to better support our community and the youth programming there. This project is being funded through a combination of Community Development Block Grant funds and the Township General Funds. Due to the CDBG compliance requirements, all construction must be fully completed by April 25th, 2026, which establishes a strict construction window. To ensure compliance, the bid documents will be advertised starting Friday, January 16th, and the bid opening will take place on Tuesday, February 3rd, for which I will hopefully be returning to recommend an award. I'm requesting approval to move forward with the bidding process.
Do we have any questions, any discussion?
I have a question, please. Ms. Scott, what year CDBG funds are you using for this, or is it multiple years?
It is multiple years, but we're going back to I believe it's the 24-25, and that's why we are on the strict, or 23-24, which is why we are on the strict deadline to utilize the funds.
Got it.
Any other questions?
With the time frame, Rachel, you think we can make it?
If we stay the course, hitting all of the
Okay.
next milestones, but yes,
Okay.
it's,
I mean, just because of weather and stuff like that, you think we can make it? Okay.
yes.
So you said the funds have to be used by April 25th?
Correct. A portion of the current funds that we have through CDBG have to be utilized by April 25th.
So there's a possibility that we use those old CDBG monies by April 25th, but some of the money, the more recent money, doesn't get used, or are we on a hard deadline to have the whole project completed?
There's a certain amount, I believe it's 340,000 of the total that we have that must be utilized by April 25th. So we currently have approximately 720,000 that we have been awarded, and we have not drawn down on that grant.
All right, thank you. May I have a motion to approve the issuance of an RFP for the Coons Park basketball courts project?
So moved.
I second.
All in favor?
Chair?
Yes.
I have to ask one more question, I'm sorry. Ms. Scott, the CDBG funds,
Yeah.
are they part of our entitlement program, or were they discretionary funds that we were awarded through a grant application? Do you know?
I believe the entitlement program, because we just receive an allotment each year.
That's the entitlement program. Okay, thank you.
Sure.
That's okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing no opposition, the request to issue a RFP for the Coons Park basketball project has been passed.
Thank you.
Thank you. So now we're at item number 12, discussion and/or adoption of the active transportation plan. Is that correct on the agenda? Ms. Secretary? All right, thank you. May I have a motion to adopt the active transportation plan as presented to us earlier this evening?
Okay.
I make that motion.
May I have a second?
I thought we were going to do, I thought we already had the discussion. I thought we were going to do this next week.
That's,
Okay. I thought it was going to be in the agenda for next week, so it's for here tonight. Okay. Okay, I'll second it.
all right, thank you. Is there any more discussion on the active transportation plan?
Okay. Yes, I have a question for the gentleman that presented the plan, if you don't mind, and it's kind of back to one of the questions that I asked for, since you did refer to it as a report card and an action plan. And just to clarify, this is a suggestion and recommendations on how to get where we want to go. There's nothing in here that commits the township to any particular finance contribution, decision, anything. This is just,
That's correct.
okay.
Yeah.
Any more questions? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
I'm sorry, at this time for me, it's a no.
I'm sorry?
It's a no.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Secretary, did you hear? All right, thank you. All right. The adoption of the active transportation plan has been passed. We're now at item number 13, discussion and action to adopt resolution 2026-05, authorize the administrative policy to allow township employees to participate in sponsored volunteer activities. May I have a motion?
May
May I have a second?
I'll second it.
Is there any discussion?
I think this is something good for the employees here to be involved in the community here. And I'm not too sure, can you tell me, Mr. Goshard, are they going to allowed to do 8 hours a year, 10 hours a year? There's nothing telling me here, you know, what they're going to be allowed to participate as far as hours in volunteering.
Yes, the policy allows for 8 hours a year per employee, and is not to interrupt the workday or anything like that. So the director or the manager at that time will be able to affirm whether the person can participate in that activity. We're looking at it limited. What is sponsored by the township right now, and basically what serves the township. We will look to maybe expand that down the road a little bit to see if there's outside organizations that do help Lower Paxton Township residents, and whether we will allow that. But that'll be, as opportunities arise, we will evaluate them and see if they are. But the objective is to build that employee volunteer core, as well as a esprit de corps from our employees to give back to the township with their time, and the township allowing them to do that.
Yep. Okay.
I mean, I think it's a wonderful idea, and I think I'm sure township employees are already involved in volunteer opportunities, and I think this is a good way for the township to support them and to give them an opportunity to really focus on their areas of interest and be a part of the larger community. So I commend you, Mr. Gossett, for this initiative, this effort in support of our employees.
I
Follow-up question? Give me an example of a township sanctioned mention volunteer opportunity that an employee may want to participate in that we would be paying them for while they are doing that.
Okay, so NutriPacks through the Central Dauphin School District. Actually, if this is passed on February the 13th from 10 to 11:30, we need 15 volunteers from the township to go over and pack bags for the Central Dauphin School District children. We pack 850 bags almost every week. It gives them 2 lunches, 2 breakfasts, and 2 dinners for the weekend so that they have food for the weekend. So it is in our community. It is giving back to the children in our community also. Yeah.
Any more questions? Yes, Mr. I'm sorry, Packer, Mr. Packer.
John Packer, 5723 Kenwood Avenue. I have a couple questions. I read through the policy. I guess my first question is, what's the genesis of this policy? Was this born out of requests from employees, or what? What is this coming? Where is this coming from?
The genesis was there was an ask for us to be involved in the NutriPack program. I looked for what would authorize an employee to go help with that. There was no policy in place, so lo and behold, the employee advisory or employee action committee, employee engagement committee, already had a policy in place in development, so we were able to do this quickly and move forward.
Okay, so is this just a different type of leave, or is this an additional benefit that's going to be granted to every township employee?
It is a different type of leave. It'll be a addition onto their timesheet where they will be able. We'll call it LVT, I think, or LTV, something like. But lower, LP. Lower Paxton volunteer time or something like that, but it's only 8 hours permittable.
Right. So if they're granted 14 days of vacation time, let's say, this would just be one of those days. They're gonna designate it as that, or are you saying now they have 15 days of vacation time?
Well, I don't consider that vacation time.
Well, I get what you're saying, but do you see where I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying, but it is not going to be reimbursable back. As if they don't use the time, they don't get reimbursed for it, or there isn't a compensation for that.
Right, but it is an additional day of basically paid leave. They just have to designate what they're doing, where they're going, have it approved through.
Yes, it has to be an approved, sponsored township event. Yes.
So was this something that was budgeted? I mean, I don't want to say it's all a good idea. What I'm looking at is, generally, I've only ever seen this with a private company because it's a private company. This is, public. So, yes, you want everybody to volunteer, but that's just it. It should be volunteer. I quickly did a search just for the definition of volunteer, and one of the meanings is a person who works without pay or assumes an obligation to which he or she is not a party or otherwise interested. So, you're not making it that they're forced to do it, but do you understand where I'm coming from as a taxpayer? How is that benefiting the operation of the tax, of the township? How is that benefiting how the township is run, or what's happening with the township with roads or sidewalks or whatever it is? I get it, but this is a totally outside agency that we're paying for in a benefit. What is the real benefit to the township?
If I could just jump in. So being a part of those volunteer organizations supports the township from the standpoint that the stronger these organizations are, the better we are as a community. It makes us all better, and it supports the employee, and it provides opportunities for them to contribute and to give back. Now, I see what you're saying. It is a cost to the township, but it's to me it's 8 hours
Let me ask you this then, it's afforded to all township employees regardless of how they're employed, whether through a contract, whether through, unions? Does this, I mean, are we creating an issue with something to that effect?
I don't know the answer to that question, but I mean, my understanding is it's for all employees of the township.
Yeah, I mean, not contract employees.
So the police officers aren't, it's not afforded to
Well, no,
them?
I mean,
or-
they're not a contract employee.
Well, but they
They're,
work
they're
under a
an employee
contract.
as part of a collective bargaining agreement, just
Right.
like the other two unions.
So
that
does
we
that affect their collective bargaining agreement? Because you're adding, the township is adding a
have. That'll be something
benefit
that would
to
have to be
them.
negotiated.
So at this point, it's not afforded to them?
No, it'll have to be negotiated, yes.
Okay, so it does affect who actually gets it. So it, as written.
for now, but
as
I'm
written,
not-
it's not.
it is
Well,
for
as
now.
written, it's not correct then, at this point in time. It can't be if you just told me that it doesn't affect the police officers as the gentleman standing here at the back. Because you didn't vet that out.
Okay,
Mr.
it had to be
Solicitor,
negotiated,
Was that
yes.
vetted out in the preparation and the, preparing this document? And again, I know I look like an idiot, I'm sure, to most people. But again, taxpayers want to know, what are your tax dollars going for? And it's not, what they're going out and getting paid to do does not directly benefit the township. Overall, I understand exactly where you're coming with all that. I understand that. But there is a cost to it because you're paying somebody leave, and that's part of their benefit. So their benefit package is greater than it is. It will be greater if you pass this than it is as we sit right now. So all I would say is take a step back and review this before you take official action.
Excuse me, may I clarify what I hear you saying? I think I've got it, because I must say it's a very valid point. Essentially, what I'm understanding is you're saying this is not an employee volunteering, this is the township paying for the time and allowing an employee to use their time that we're paying for
Correct.
to work for a nonprofit organization for 8 hours a day.
Yeah, and I guess.
So we're assuming,
Yeah, and you're assuming, what I don't see here as well is, well, how does that get monitored? And again, we're obviously adding a separate layer to this of, is somebody gonna follow them around? Are they gonna take a piece of paper and somebody's gonna sign off on it? Again, to me, the document's incomplete. It doesn't cover everything, and I think you've not readily, but you've, had to admit that to a certain extent at this point. Again, what I would say is, if you're giving them an additional day, so when I worked for the state, which many of you know for years, so there was different designations as the type of leave you were using. For example, there's just sick leave, if I was sick for the day. There's sick family leave. I could take time off because I had a sick wife or child. Sick bereavement, immediate family member passed away. So what I think would be a better way to use it is to let somebody designate the already vacation time, personal time that they have or have acquired with that designation that they're going to be using that to go out to volunteer. So you put a different, preference on that type of leave.
And Mr. Packer, I don't think the volunteering that we're looking at here in the township, it's not going to be a day. They could do an hour and a half here in May. They might do an hour and a half somewhere else. It's not like they're taking a day.
Well, I get that,
Yeah.
but in the end, it comes out to 8 hours. It comes out to a day's work.
And if I would, I'd add also, for the township to support employees in this way, yes, it's an extra day, and you're right, for all intents and purposes, an extra cost. It shows, and I think it demonstrates that the township supports our employees and the interest that our employees have. And to me, I think that's one more thing that works towards retention of our employees. And of course, there's a cost to rehire and hire employees. So the more we can do to support our employees in their areas of interest, and of course, all of these organizations will be, approved. Not all of them, but they will be vetted. It sends a message to our employees that we care about you, we care about what you're interested in, and in turn, I think it'll make our employees feel better about working for the township. it's not just about pay. It's not just about the dollars they get. It's about showing and demonstrating that we care about them and we care about what they're interested in. So, yeah, 8 hours here, right? It's a cost, but over the long term, I tend to believe that it'll help us from a retention standpoint and from a culture standpoint, and having employees feel that yes, we support them in their areas of interest.
Okay.
So that's my perspective.
And I think, too, it'll be a good morale builder also, among the employees.
Please.
Yeah.
Right. It's an outreach to the community.
But
Good
good
evening,
comments.
Mr.
Good comments.
McCormick.
I just wanted to add to what Mr. Packer said. I want to make 2 comments. The first comment is that if this individual, this township employee that's working for a nonprofit, and by the way, I support NutriPac 100%. I think they do great work, and I wholeheartedly endorse helping them. But if someone's getting paid for doing this, then it's not volunteer. Let's not conflate the two. If they're getting paid by the township for the time that they spend with a nonprofit, it's not volunteerism, they're getting paid. The second point I'd like to make, just for you to consider, everyone wants to support NutriPac, and there's 1,000 other great organizations in Lower Paxton Township. But what are you going to do if the devil worshiper, Wickham, whatever, decides they want to have a half a day off to go do their floats for their parade they're planning? Because there might be organizations that we wouldn't necessarily want to support, and other people may find it objectionable. Just want you to think about it, that's all. Thank you.
And we would welcome other nonprofits in this township, if this is passed, to come to us, and if it is passed, to have the employees go and volunteer there. We just had the opportunity for NutriPac to ask.
Is there any more discussion, any more questions? All right, so we're at the point where we need a motion to authorize the administrative policy to allow township employees to participate in sponsored volunteer activities.
Madam Chair, I think we have a first and second.
Oh,
if
we
I'm
have,
correct.
okay, sorry. All right. And we've had the discussion. All in
Madam
fa-
Chair,
Yes.
I would like to make a second motion that Resolution 2026-05 be tabled for further consideration based on public comment.
Do I have a second?
I second.
All in favor?
Could I have a roll call vote, please, I think?
Mrs. Lindsay?
No, we're just going on Ms. Scheib's motion or on the motion to, the original motion
This is on the motion to table.
to table? No.
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 Yes.
Yes.
All right. The motion to table has failed, so we're back to the motion to pass the volunteer resolution. All in favor?
Aye.
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 No.
The motion to pass the resolution for the employees to participate in sponsored volunteer activities has passed. We're now
Madam Chair,
at-
can I just offer that my no was made with a very heavy heart, so it was just for further consideration. So thank you for allowing me that opportunity.
Thank you. We're on item number 14, action to adopt Resolution 2026-06, the 2026 Dauphin County Hazard Mitigation Plan.
This is something the board does annually. It lays out call trees, different pieces of equipment that are available to all municipalities or equipment sharing in the event of emergencies and things of that sort. So this is something you do annually. It was reviewed by Chief Kashiba, and he has recommended approval.
May I have a motion to adopt Resolution 2026, the County Hazard Mitigation Plan?
So moved.
May I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? I'm sorry.
Aye.
Oh, okay, thank you. I didn't give the opportunity for discussion. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No opposition. The motion passes to adopt the Dauphin County Hazard Mitigation Plan. Item number 15. We're going to have discussion on Resolution 2025-04, establishing board committees and defining their responsibilities. May I have a motion? May I have a motion? May I have a second?
I second the motion.
Is there any discussion?
Would you clarify the motion on the table, please?
The motion on the table is to discuss the Resolution 2025-04, establishing board committees and defining their responsibilities.
Okay. Is it open for discussion?
It is open for
Okay.
discussion.
So if it's open for discussion, I don't feel this should be a committee. I think it should be a board liaison. One of the supervisors, I'm just going to say Public Works, okay, would be the liaison to the Public Works Committee, to the Public Works Department. And what that would mean was that one of the supervisors would be the liaison. They would meet with the director. They would meet with the managers underneath them. You would be discussing equipment. What do they need? Are we leasing? Are we paying for it? Do we really need this? How much is it costing? Would discuss about the roads, how they're cleaning up the parks, paving, stormwater, and if it is allowed, I don't know, sitting in on the interviews of the employees that they're hiring. Another one would be to push for contacting, here we go again, PennDOT. We do have state roads that aren't being taken care of. Locust Lane, for one, that a lot of us travel up and down a couple times a day, to try and talk to them and maybe get our representatives, our senator, involved in that with the roads. So I think it should just be one person. Once you go to a committee, you get too many people involved, and you're going to have to then take minutes. The minutes are going to have to come back. They're going to have to be approved. So I feel that it should just be a board member that would be, and then what'll happen is that board member would bring back to the Board of Supervisors, hey, this is what they need, this is what's happening. If they have something on the agenda, they're buying a piece of equipment, I could assure the other board members that, yes, they do need this equipment. Yes, this equipment is the right price. Also with compost facility, I mean, that's a big question right now also. So I myself think it should be a liaison, and I'm just offering that for discussion.
So, I'm in favor of the opportunity for the supervisors to engage the different areas of the township, the different departments. I think it's important for us to, from the standpoint of getting smarter about all aspects of the township. I am, a finance expert, so what I would like to do is to work with, the finance department, learn from them, hear from them, lend my advice, and again, get smarter as we think strategically about how we go forward. And I believe these committees need to be internal folks only, supervisors and folks on Mike's team and including Mike. it allows us to become more actively engaged and gives us an opportunity to learn and to support the employees and to give advice, based upon our area of expertise. My question is there an ordinance that allows us to do this from a committee standpoint?
The ordinance allows us to have a committee type of governance. That's why I've proposed this, so that we can be a little more hands-on and engaged with the governance in the township, so that we don't have the same types of issues that we've experienced the last couple of years.
But, Ms. Chair, when you're saying committee, to me, a committee is people from the outside that want to be involved.
Okay,
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
but in this case, it wouldn't be that type of committee. It would be exactly what you just discussed.
Okay. To me, the supervisor is the liaison to that department, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
May I
Is
ask
there
for
any more-
I'd like to ask a clarification of our solicitor. Not that I doubt Supervisor Lindsay or that I agree with you, because I really don't know with a second-class township. If there's a committee formed of 2 supervisors, recognizing it's not a quorum, is it come under a different structure and requirements for minutes and public meetings and announcements of agenda dates? Or is it just more informal? There's 2 supervisors who are meeting with departments.
So, I'm going to answer your question, but just phrase the number of options a little bit differently. So, if there was just a liaison meeting with representatives of the township, so I think what Supervisor Lindsay is getting at, to come back and report on and indicate to the board that we've discussed these issues, and that person has a little bit more knowledge base than maybe the other board members do, because they've sat in on some of those meetings, then certainly that doesn't need to be advertised. Similarly, if you established a committee which involved a member of the board, and, for example, the new finance director and the manager, a committee of 3, and that was your finance committee, that would not necessarily need to be advertised. When you get to having standing meetings with multiple Board of Supervisors members attending those meetings, that's when you get into the potential requirement for advertisement, taking minutes, public comment, that type of thing. You can certainly set up actual committees that involve multiple supervisors, and those meetings take place in public. I've seen that done in municipalities for particular target issues, for example, where, hey, we really need to focus on even things like the transportation plan, or we need to focus on codes enforcement. We're going to establish a special committee, and that may involve multiple members of the Board of Supervisors. And with the Board of Supervisors, if they desire to do so, maybe they're permitted to attend those things, as well as the public and that type of thing. So hopefully that answers your question. That if you're going to be having multiple members of the board on the committee, then yes, you should probably publicly advertise it and hold minutes, public comment, that type of thing.
All right, I'm going to ask you just to further, I guess the new terminology is drill down. And if it's 2 members of the board and restricted to 2 members of the board, which is less than a quorum, do we still run that? I'm not trying to circumvent anything either here, just so folks understand. I'm just trying to understand what our solicitor is saying we can form and not form. 2 members of the supervisor does not represent a quorum and therefore does not violate. But you're saying that 2 is multiple.
I would recommend, if you're going to have 2, that you publicly advertise the meetings, make them public. I think the goals for those type of meetings would be different than the goals for more of a liaison structure or a board member plus township employee structure.
My understanding is that there was only going to be 1 supervisor attending these meetings.
That's why I said liaison. I thought just, I'm saying liaison, meaning one person. If I would be the liaison to Public Works, it would just be me and then the director and the managers underneath. Is that what you would classify, Kevin, as a liaison, one person?
Yeah, and again, in that structure, either you're the liaison or you call it a committee, but it's made up of one supervisor as a representative from the board and members of township staff, then those do not need to be publicly advertised. I think the danger you run when you have a committee of multiple members is that, what if for some reason another supervisor should attend one of those meetings, right? Then you run into potential sunshine law violations. And I think from a public perception, you would want to have those meetings advertised.
All right, thank you. Do we have any more questions? Any questions from the public? Hearing no questions, I'll put the action to adopt Resolution 2025-04, establishing board committees and defining their responsibilities before the board for a vote. May I have a motion?
Madam
Yeah.
Chair, I think before we do that, just because of the way the agenda reads, I think we should probably have a motion to amend the agenda to have it read action on Resolution 2025-04. It currently says discussion.
Okay, thank you. Action to adopt resolution?
Yes,
All
that's
right,
fine.
Thank
yeah.
you.
So we would need a motion and a second and a vote on that first.
So may I have a motion to adopt 2025 Oh, okay, I'm sorry. May I have a motion to amend the agenda regarding the resolution of 2025-04 for the establishment of board committees?
It's just amend the motion.
I'm amending the motion,
Okay,
yes.
I make that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Now we're at the point where we need a
No, wait a minute. I'm a little confused.
Uh-oh.
So with that motion and with that second, then you're telling me that it's going to be committees, it's not going to be a liaison. Is that how I'm taking it?
I think the motion is just to amend the agenda so that a motion can be made to adopt
Okay.
the resolution. But since I have no intention of adopting the resolution, I prefer we didn't even make the motion.
Yeah.
So Supervisor Lindsay, what are you suggesting you're suggesting we rephrase from committee to liaison?
Yes.
Okay.
That's just me. I don't know what the others are thinking. I have no clue.
All right,
So-
okay.
Madam Chair, may I say something?
Yes.
I'm going to agree with Supervisor Lindsay in going for liaison and committees. So if that requires one supervisor, that's what we need to do,
All right.
in my opinion. Thanks.
So Solicitor Hall, how do we need to rephrase?
In the chair's opinion, did the motion on the amend pass? I think we probably should have a roll call on the motion to amend the agenda.
To amend.
Right, what I was saying before is that in order to adopt the resolution in any form, we should amend the agenda to reflect that we're adopting the resolution, not just having a discussion on the resolution.
So we had a motion and a second, didn't we?
I will change my vote to affirm.
Okay.
Okay? My apologies.
So we have a motion and a second to amend.
Yes.
I think the chair can.
I'm sorry, I was talking to the manager.
okay.
What did we do?
I think there's been a motion and second to amend. I think you should call for a vote on the motion and
All
second
right,
to amend.
thank you. May I have a vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. No.
Okay. So it passes.
The motion passes.
Okay, so the current item number 15 reads, action to adopt resolution 2025-04.
May I have a motion to adopt Resolution 2025-04, establishing board committees?
Madam Chair, I make a motion to change the language on Resolution 2026-06. Nope, that's not 06. Excuse me, my mistake.
2025-04.
I'm assuming it's 07.
2025-04 is what we're dealing with right
04,
now.
excuse me,
Ms.
my
Scheid.
apologies. To include the language that the solicitor may recommend that Supervisor Lindsay discussed regarding more of an informal liaison opportunity than a formal committee that would require minutes.
May I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Now, with that said, and I know I should have to vote affirmative, I don't know whether we want to have all the language and all the different committees and the liaisons that are in here.
Do you want a comment by the solicitor?
So we're going to be back here next week. If we're going to have significant changes to the language of the resolution, my recommendation would be that if it is the will of the board to pursue those language changes, that you allow Mike and I work together to come back with something that we think fulfills that intent next week, so that we would just table adoption of the resolution tonight.
All right. May I have a motion to table the resolution establishing board committees and defining their responsibilities?
I make that motion.
May I have a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Madam Chair, may I ask the solicitor a question?
Yes.
In moving the liaison route, would this actually need board action, or can the chair just make those assignments without going to the board, or without board approval?
I don't think that, so long as you're not establishing formal committees that are going to be publicly advertised, then you certainly can pass a resolution providing that direction, but it's not necessary.
So she could appoint the liaison to the committee or to the different departments, and we wouldn't have to do any resolution at all?
No.
Okay.
All right, thank you for the information. So we have closed out discussion on action item number 15, and we are on to discussion and possible action regarding July the 4th fireworks. May I have we're just discussing this, so do we have any discussion from the board on their position on the July the 4th fireworks?
I will start my discussion on that matter. I've stated it before, and I stated it as a non-supervisor. I'm not in favor of it, and my reason being due to safety issues, previous incidences. My family and I used to enjoy it every year, but I wouldn't let my family go to it because although I have full confidence in Adam Kashiba and his Lower Paxton Township Police Department, it's that unknown that bothers me. And unknowns nowadays, people and kids are getting shot and hurt and killed and things of that nature. And I recognize the significance of it. being a disabled veteran, and I just wish it was a way that we could do it, ensure, have better confidence that it will not be a tragedy or whatever, but history has shown us so far that that's a distinct possibility. So that's just my take of it. Thank you.
Supervisor Stewart, I agree with you. I'm in that camp as well. There will be a 4th of July celebration, and we will celebrate the fireworks display from my perspective.
And if I can add also, the numbers in the fireworks, there were 982 residents that participated, 73 non-residents. Hosting the fireworks, the support for no was 543, yes was 512. The costs would go between 20 and 25,000, and we don't even know what the costs would be. We're right now, it used to be $10,000 for the fireworks. We have no clue what that cost will be. Could it go up? Could we even find the date that we needed? So there was 576 non-acceptable for the cost and 479 acceptable. Potential safety risk, and this board sitting here, every employee in this township, what is your major concern? What is your major number one to take care of your residents? Public safety. Public safety risk, there was yes, 579, no were 476. So always been involved in public safety from my family, my husband being an ex-police officer. So public safety risk to me, it's there. And I'm going to have to agree with Supervisor Stewart and Supervisor Campbell.
Being on the 250 committee, we have had discussions about the fireworks, and they do understand the sentiment of the township residents who participated in the survey. So they don't have any expectation that they're going to be fireworks. The event planner has already acknowledged that even if they were interested in having fireworks, they've pretty much come to it far too late in order to get a vendor to provide services. So, as I said, I sit on the volunteer committee, so we've looked away from that, and we're looking for a different kind of finale for the event. We wanted to bring this out in discussion publicly. So we don't have any expectations as the 250 committee that there would be any fireworks.
Would we need, Mike, would we need to put that on for next week? Okay.
All right, thank you. All right, we are at the point in the agenda where we have announcements. Do we have any announcements from, yes, Mr. McCormick?
Are you going to accept public comment on the fireworks issue?
Oh, sorry, sir. Yes, go ahead.
Okay. I stand as an advocate for the fireworks. It seems to me the supervisors have already made up their mind, but I just want to touch on a couple of issues. I don't discount anything that was said earlier. Public safety is the most important thing. As far as the discussion of fireworks, it seems to me there's always been three issues. One, the cost of the fireworks. Two, safety of the general public. And three, safety of our public safety people. So I'd like to address each one of those. The cost of the fireworks themselves is, as Supervisor Lindsay has already stated, somewhere in the $10,000 range, maybe $12,000 now. It's accepting some increase. I should say that I'm exceedingly proud and pleased, and I want to say a grand thank you to Linglestown Volunteer Fire Company 35 for supporting these fireworks for so many years. There's a great history and tradition of fireworks on the 4th of July, but this being the 250th anniversary of our nation, I think it's especially important this year. But if the cost of the fireworks is $10,000 to $12,000, the way you get to $20,000 to $25,000 is the cost of the labor associated with the public safety personnel. So I'd like to say a couple of things about that. One, first, there was a plan that was presented to the previous board about moving the fireworks from Coons Park to another location. And that seemed to be much more acceptable from a safety perspective to our public safety department. I would also say that, big events like that are more than just working or even working overtime. Big events like that are also training sessions. Our public safety people need to have the opportunity to exercise those muscles to make certain that in other large events that they do have the training and they do have the experience to keep our people safe, our residents safe. I would say this, with a military background, one of the things I know that was good for my unit, for my group of men, was esprit de corps and morale. And I think that an event like this is one of the kind of events that brings the township together. It brings families together, and it wasn't that long ago that we had blankets spread out and picnic baskets, and we had a very, very family-friendly kind of fireworks show. I would also mention in the last event that we had fireworks, there were 11 arrests, I believe 11, you can check me on the numbers, and 10 of those arrests were people outside Lower Paxton Township. I do believe there are steps that can be taken to make certain that Lower Paxton Township residents are the ones that are attending that event, not people outside the township. I would encourage the Board of Supervisors to meet with public safety people and find out how that could be done. From a cost perspective, albeit we do have the public safety people that are going to be working it, I do believe that there's a training aspect that is worthy of spending those funds, but we could also get money donated from various businesses to support the fireworks. Again, it's the 250th anniversary of our nation's founding, and I think that that kind of celebration should be met with the kind of tradition we've had in Lower Paxton Township for multiple decades. The last thing I want to say is the safety of the public safety personnel. While I'm completely confident that Director Kashiba and our public safety people can keep the residents safe, along with our Parks and Recreation people, I would stack our public safety and our Parks and Recreation people against any organization in South Central Pennsylvania, maybe even better than many of the people in the larger cities in this state. We have the best of the best, I believe that. But as far as the safety of our public safety personnel, if you structure this correctly, if you set it up correctly, there's ways that we can incent and ensure that only Lower Paxton people and their families are coming into the venue where the fireworks will be set off. And I think there's a great deal of camaraderie and public kind of get together and meeting one another and enjoying one another's time that's worth the time and effort and the expense. And I hope that this board will find a way to make fireworks in the 250th anniversary happen. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. McCormick.
So I think, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Julie Lober, 18 Kerr Street. Just because we're not going to shoot fireworks, we're not foregoing the camaraderie. We're going to have a celebration. The question is whether the finale is going to be fireworks. So let's keep that clear. We're in the 21st century now, and we should maybe be celebrating the 21st in a 21st century manner. Fireworks were invented in the Middle Ages. Why don't we do a laser show? Let's look into doing a laser show or a drone show. There are lots of things that we can do that will dazzle people, that will totally honor our country, our great republic, and its 250th birthday. So, let's think a little bit outside the box. I agree this has to be something great. I commend the board for wanting to do something here, and I'm just putting it out there to start maybe looking at some alternatives. I don't know how much they cost, just saying. So, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Labor. The marketing volunteer on the 250 volunteer board is looking into exactly what you just outlined, a laser show, a drone show, and she will be getting back to us at our next meeting. So thank you. Any more comments? All right, so now we're at the point where we're going to make announcements. Do any of the board members have announcements to make?
I have one. Tomorrow, your board and your manager will be attending the officials' day at the Pennsylvania Farm Show. So we, again, will be representing you, the residents of Lower Paxton Township, with other officials from all over the Commonwealth, Pennsylvania.
Thank you. As a representative of the American 250 Volunteer Board, I do have several announcements that I would like to make. I'll be doing these PSA announcements several times over the next couple of months. Celebrate our communities, families, veterans, and America at the Independence Weekend Family Celebration at Dauphin County Heroes Grove. Saturday, July 4th, 2026. This will be the 5th annual celebration, and we would like to invite individuals and organizations to join us. The township is partnering with the Lower Paxton Community Foundation, the Heroes Grove Committee, Linglestown American Legion, America 250 PA, and other organizations. We want your help. Organizations and individuals can volunteer to participate with an activity or help to plan or promote the celebration. We need people to organize parade floats, baking and flower display competitions, family games, promotion and marketing, and we want people to make nominations for the Spirit of Volunteerism Awards. Thank you. The other announcement that I wanted to make was thanking Representative Justin Fleming for bringing $500,000 to the Friendship Center to start the process of putting on a second floor at the Friendship Center. The final announcement that I would like to make, and it's perfect at the beginning of the year, is to remind everybody to check their smoke detector batteries if you have that kind. We recently, and make sure that you do have smoke detectors in your home. One of the recent fires that we had here in Lower Paxton Township, it turned out that there was not one smoke detector in the house. All right, so with that, may I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
May I have a second? Board of Supervisors meeting for January 13th is adjourned.